Hey guys, Bubba here with the BubbaNews, all in one word, all in one news. How are you guys doing tonight? I'm calling this one B-52s are ready to go. These things are getting ready, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight because it's starting to really heat up again in the Middle East. And, not like it's just starting to heat up again in the Middle East. But the U.S., the past couple days, and we're going to get to that, but it's really ramping up there in the Persian Gulf and south, going into the Indian Ocean with the U.S. military that's moving in. But I've been getting some good reviews. Thank you guys for commenting and whatnot on the video I did last night. It's kind of a decent format for me right now, and then maybe we'll be able to get in some live streams later this week or something. But just lots going on here at home, lots going on in the world. So let's just start off with the news. But yeah, Romans 8:38 and 39, and I am convinced that nothing can ever separate us from God's love. And guys, we need to remember that now more than ever, because with everything coming up, we need to know that nothing can separate us from God's love. Nothing. So, all right, let's get right to Syria, guys. I am looking for the tensions to continue to build up. And what's going on is there's tension between the IDF forces and local residents in southern Syria. And it's been escalating. Like this morning, local Syrian residents opened fire on IDF forces near the village of Koyaya in the tri-border area there of southwest Syria. So I'm going to show you down here. You got the Sea of Galilee right there in this little corner down here in the little black box. That's this whole area there into where Jordan meets with Syria, that meets with Israel. So you've got Israel meeting all in this corner, Syria meeting, and Jordan. So, the IDF can't rule out an airstrike against these guys because, actually they did earlier today. And there were lots of injuries, actually. I forgot about that. But there's reports that many civilians fled the village following the incident. And the videos show that armed people were dressed in just normal civilian clothes. But this area, I guess, is known as a former ISIS stronghold. It continues to host local hostile elements there. So there's all kinds of fighting actions going on. But I guess in recent weeks, there's been lots of protests that have been taking place in the region against the IDF operations in southern Syria. Because this whole area, Israel's moved into Syria. And, there's reports from local residents that have refused to accept humanitarian aid that's coming in from Israel because they don't want them to be there. So we're going to see what's going on there. But, the longer the IDF remains in the buffer zone, there's going to be more and more tensions and confrontations with the local residents. And this will further escalate. And we're going to get to a story tonight where now it could be Israel against Turkey and Israel against Syria. So this is getting crazy. But, I want to talk about next with Turkey. Yeah. Meanwhile, Turkey and Israel could be coming to blows soon. In Syria, Israel versus Turkey in Syria. There's areas up here in northern Syria, as you can see as in the map, and then when I'm scrolling down further into Syria to see the two circles, and over here to the far left is where you see Damascus and whatnot, but they're getting pretty close to, these guys, all these areas are where Turkey's wanting to move in. So there's going to be aerial friction in the Syrian skies between the Israeli aircraft and the Turkish aircraft. And it's already occurred. And Turkey's military movement in Syria is really starting to stand out lately because he's wanting to take over this whole area where it says Syria up over to the Euphrates River and control all of that. So Turkey's increasing its movement, including Turkish soldiers and advanced weapon systems that are being moved into Syrian military airports. Turkey's military operations in Syria already pose a challenge to Israel. But Israel has to set the rules of this game, because Turkey plans to establish multiple bases to serve the Turkish Air Force. Yeah, Turkey reportedly aims to expand its ground and aerial activities in the country of Syria. Turkey has transported troops and military equipment to the Manak military airport in northern Syria, now operating in Turkish and Syrian collaboration. A scenario in which Turkish Air Force jets operate in Syrian airspace against the Israeli Air Force jets is a very possible one. So an Israel-Turkey clash in Syrian airspace is a very possible scenario. And I said, this is sounding more and more like it's leading up to the Gog-Magog war scenario to come. But other battles are coming first, I believe. Before Ezekiel 38, I believe we still have Psalm 83. I still believe we have Isaiah 17. I said I still believe we have Jeremiah 49 and more. Now, this next one is going to be, because we've talked about Syria, we've talked about Turkey. Next, we're going to talk about Iran. And I said, oh my, this is the underground missile base that was shown today for the first time for a reason. Iran is getting set up for their attack operation on Israel called True Promise 3. And today they unveiled a new underground missile base. I'm going to show you this because in the first 20 seconds, they showcase the hypersonic missiles that can get from Tehran to Tel Aviv in 400 seconds or 6.66 minutes. Let's do this. So they're getting ready. Those guys are getting ready. Iran showed off this missile city in the Zagros Mountains today to show off their missile city that is hidden in the tunnels in their mountains. But both Israel and the United States know exactly where this is. It's just a matter of time before these missiles go boom by an Israeli and USA attack. But this story, guys, is starting to get crazy. Today, the Gazans were demonstrating against Hamas. And they called for the terrorists of Hamas to get out. Hamas terrorists emerged from the Indonesian hospital in the city to disperse the demonstrations, but they were met by rocks hurled at them by the protesters. And the call then went out as these protesters are protesting against Hamas after this first scuffle where Hamas went out and they got all these rocks thrown at them. They got word from above, do not go outside. Because if you as a Hamas agent go outside and try to disperse these protests, the IDF above with their drones is going to know exactly who you are and take you out and kill you. So these protests, I believe, are going to start ramping up and they're going to start getting thicker. Because the food shortages are starting to creep in. And it's not the Gazans people, it's not their fault. It's the Hamas's, but still, these people are suffering. So... slogans chanted down with Hamas, Hamas out, stop the war, and even release the hostages. So these protests have erupted, and they are not terrified to protest. And right, because these guys are not terrified to protest right now is significant on its own. Because normally Hamas takes them out. So we'll see if these protests against Hamas continue. But and I'm going to mention something about these protests here coming up again in a second. But, here's what I want to talk about, the B-2 bombers. The B-2 stealth bombers are ready. Yesterday it was reported that the U.S. had deployed at least 3 B-2 stealth bombers and dozens of fighter jets to the Diego Garcia Base in the Indian Ocean. And the last time that they were used was last fall when they bombed Yemen. And they did some big bunker busting going on. But an update today is 4 more additional United States Air Force B-2 Spirit stealth bombers are now en route to the Diego Garcia Base in the Indian Ocean. So this will bring the number of total deployed B-2 stealth bombers to 7. This marks an unprecedented concentration of stealth bombers at this location. And I said, something is up. Will it be the stealth bombers up in the sky bombing Yemen, or will it be Iran? I have a feeling that it will be Yemen first, and then Iran in April, when the second aircraft carrier arrives to the Persian Gulf. Time is ticking, closer to some mega attacks and war. Just the fact to get 7 B-2s airworthy at the same time, That alone is unprecedented achievement in recent years. I doubt this ends well. But here's what I'm talking about. Hundreds of Palestinians started protesting the Gaza today, calling for an end to war. Hamas, get out.
حماس تطلع برا 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 حماس تطلع برا 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 حماس تطلع برا حماس تطلع برا 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 حماس تسقط 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 برا برا تسقط حكم الاخوان برا برا برا
I like that old guy at the end, but check this out. After this was done today, a call was published on Gaza networks to participate in protest rallies tomorrow at 4 p.m. in now 9 different locations throughout Gaza instead of just this one because they found it to be so successful. So these protests appear to be growing because they want Hamas out and they want their food back. Especially if you're a father that's unable to feed your family, you're going to rise up and do what you can to get them food. Of course, Israel officials are saying that they've done this multiple times over the course of the war. I want them putting their words into action. I want them providing the IDF with information on the hostages. If they, the Gazans, want peace, Israel said, that's how they get it. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, but I have a feeling it's going to keep growing. But this was pretty big today because over the weekend, the King of Jordan visited, MBZ there, the United Arabs UAE president. He met in Cairo over the weekend with Egypt. The UAE meets with Egypt. And then today, the King of Jordan visits the UAE. This is like a bad triangle. And I said, there's a reason why President Mohammed bin Zayed of the UAE visited Egypt over the weekend and entertained the King of Jordan today. Last week, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed launched the Mohammed bin Zayed Foundation for Humanity. He's all about advancing the global digital health agenda. This weekend in Cairo, Egypt, President El-Sisi held a celebratory Ramadan special iftar banquet in honor of the UAE president. But Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan is known by his initials as MBZ. It's just so much easier just to say MBZ from the UAE. Well, he's the crown prince of the Emirate of Abu Dhabi there in the UAE. He has a huge part in the coming peace plan between Israel and Palestine. So today, MBZ hosted King Abdullah of Jordan for meetings and another Islamic Ramadan iftar dinner. These things are huge right now during these iftar dinners and celebrations of travel like this in the Islamic world. But keep in mind, MBZ is working hand in hand with Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, of Saudi Arabia for the Temple Mount. And MBZ in the picture right there, that dude, right there in the middle, there he is. He's working hand in hand with Mohammed bin Salman for the Temple Mount. He's doing his part to make sure that Jordan is on board. And he's got Jordan, the king, right there, to make sure that Jordan is on board with releasing custodianship of the Temple Mount soon. Because he wants to bring Mr. MBZ of the UAE on the right-hand side there, wants to bring the 3 monotheistic faiths that they have with the Abrahamic house there in Abu Dhabi, UAE, to the Temple Mount in the very near future. So that you will have the Islamic religion worshiping, you'll have the Judaism Jews worshiping on their temple, and you'll have a special place for the Christians to worship. Those left behind Christians to worship on the Temple Mount. So it's really interesting what's coming up. So let's keep going. But yeah, with these protests today, a cause for cessation in hostilities and speaking out against Hamas, but it's generating buzz in the Palestinian media of all things. Where was Hamas? Why was it unable to send police or internal security personnel to disperse these demonstrations? But why? Because Hamas and those supporting Hamas would have been killed by Israel. Should they come out into the open, it would be as easy as shooting a fish in a barrel for the Israeli aircraft and drones flying overhead. We'll see what happens tomorrow, but if this protest continues, which I do believe that it will continue, then this could get very interesting, as Gazans will start calling the Israeli hotline to turn in the terrorists soon, I bet. Because if they do this and turn in the terrorists or turn in information so Israel can go in and get the hostages, they are offered thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in rewards. And they will be paid if they do this. So it's very possible that we might see these guys and start turning in and renting out these Hamas guys. Plus, humanitarian aid is still being prevented from entering the Gaza Strip. And there's growing discussions of the Gazan people running out of food. I saw a report today, even in the northern part of Gaza, flour is basically unavailable. 5 cups of sugar that normally cost you about $1.10 now cost $25. 1 liter of diesel fuel that used to be, what did they say? Something like either 55 cents to $1 is now over $25 for 1 liter. Not even 1 gallon, 1 liter of diesel fuel. So I said this could turn into a bloodbath, literally. All right, I don't know why I got so excited today discussing the B-2 bomber, but we'll just keep going. 2 B-2, yeah, we already know they've already been coming in. It seems like a much larger buildup than would be needed for strikes for just the Houthis in Yemen. A significant buildup is happening in Diego Garcia, and for reference, Diego Garcia is the red pin on the map. So I finished up this report with this. So at least 5 B-2 stealth bombers have arrived or are on their way to Diego Garcia, with this being a significant buildup. The U.S. has launched strikes in the Middle East from Diego Garcia before, but the numerous United States Air Force refueling tankers, there are 18 refueling tankers and 7 C-17s that were forward deployed to the Pacific prior to these attacks in the past. Well, that's what they have this time. 18 U.S. Air Force refueling tankers. They're being staged in the Pacific with several tankers each at Travis Air Force Base in California, there in Hawaii, and they're at Anderson Air Force Base in Guam as well. And when all these air refueling tankers go airborne, then we'll know that an attack is underway possibly. I just like watching these guys with flying. And you see over here, those are the F-22s. Those are pretty cool on the right-hand side. All right, let's get out of this. Yeah, earlier today, even on NOTAM, notice to air missions, and you see it down there below, active, was issued for Diego Garcia, the air base that we're seeing all the heavy U.S. Air Force military activity. 2 parking slots, B-1 and B-2, are reserved until May 1st, indicating that the large-scale U.S. air movements will last until then. There are 4 climate-controlled hangars, but these extra 2 spots will be needed until May 1st, 2025. This is also the time frame when Trump's 2 months deadline for Iran ends or gets very close to ending. And remember when Trump has basically come out in the past couple weeks and says that they have 2 months, Iran, either to have an agreement, a nuclear proliferation agreement, or the consequences, and that is an attack on you, Iran. So the general time, the timeline's fairly clear as of now. If a nuclear agreement with Iran is not reached, we should expect an escalation by May 1st. Additionally, the USS Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group has arrived at the Guam Naval Base, where it's currently being resupplied. And from there, it will head towards the Middle East to join the USS Harry Truman Carrier Strike Group already stationed in the Red Sea. And the estimated time of the arrival of Vinson there, Carl Vinson USS, is about 10 to 14 days. So less than 2 weeks, it should be there in the staging area in the region, the Sea of Oman into the Persian Gulf. But here's something else that happened tonight. We need to pay attention to this, because just south of Damascus, there where the red dot is, there was a lot of HTS attacks tonight. And they attacked the Druze in the suburb of Shanahay. Down there, see it? Shahane. I don't even know what I'm saying, but anyway, down there in southwestern Syria by Damascus. So there's clashes taking place in the suburb, but the Druze are now sending enforcements. But just like, they were killing the Alawites 2 to 3 weeks ago, this is more than an operation targeting the Druze population itself, rather than a single incident. In other words, this might increase. So if Jolani's guys of the HTS, who were taking care of the Alawites a couple weekends ago, are now going after the Druze people that Israel said they will protect. So it's just a matter of time before the Israeli forces will then square off against Syria's HTS forces that are part of Jelani's new military and his new government when he took over Syria in December. And with Turkey waiting to move into Syria, Israel is going to have to deal with them sooner or later as well. So this is starting to all come together. Man, I talked way too much on this, but yeah, just to see that they're sending in all the tanker fleets. Sorry, guys, I'm just going through all the stuff I have on the Telegram today. I just got focused on these bombers. Maybe I just needed to look at these, I guess, for a hot minute. But, in the past, they've used these bomber operations for the B-2 stealth for the Gulf War, for the Afghanistan bombings, there for Iraq. But, the scale this big, because it's 2,000 miles away from Iran, so it's out of their missile range, but it's perfect for Middle East operations on Yemen or on Iran. And the B-2s are nuclear capable, and they're built for these deep strikes to go deep into, the bunkers that we're going to look at here in a minute with the GBU-57. But, is this just deterrence or is this preparing? Of course, there's no official word yet, but do you think they'd actually give us official word? No. We'd actually hear about it after it's already underway. So, but keep in mind, they did last fall. They used they bombed 5 Houthi missile sites with these bunker buster bombs. And what you see right there is a 30,000-pound GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator rocket missile. These things are wild because this thing is substantially larger, and it's the deepest penetrating bunker busters previously available. And it's perfect for these kind of operations in Yemen. The US B-2 stealth bomber can carry these and could repeatedly strike Iran sites until they are destroyed. But keep in mind, each one of these is, they're basically 14 tons each. 28,000 pounds basically each. I mean, each one of these is capable of penetrating the Natanz and the Fordo nuclear facilities there in Iran, as well as the Iranian new missile cities they showed us in the video today, which is really timely. Hello. Because these massive ordnance penetrators can blow right through your tunnels, dude, and right through your mountains and go right into taking out those missiles before they have a chance to shoot on Israel. So, the United States and Israel has this all planned out. And, the Air Force B-2 Spirit strategic bomber is capable of carrying 2 of those guys. Look how big that missile is compared to the dude down here in the picture down below. Tell me that's just not nuts. Check that out. So yeah, they're ready for that. And they're capable of going, penetrating 200 feet. Okay, here's what it says. The GBU-57 bomb is designed for deep penetration, capable of penetrating over 61 meters or 200 feet of reinforced concrete, including rebar, before detonating. So 6 American B-2 bombers can carry 12 of these GBU-57 bombs and destroy nuclear facilities and even these Iranian missile cities that are hiding there in the Zagros Mountains of Iran. Not a problem. So I don't know if these are going to be used for Yemen or if these are going to be used for Iran. But I'm going to finish it off with this and keep it short tonight for you guys. But guys, this stuff is just getting crazy town. These B-2s are very strong in being able to carry this much weight from the huge bunker buster bombs. I think these videos are cool. And you see how the fins pop out at the end. But I just have this on loop. So hopefully it'll just do that. But guys, these wars are getting ready to kick off. We've got everything with Iran going on. We've got everything with Syria going on. Stuff with Hezbollah now, Gaza. Oh man, it's gonna get crazy town. With the Yemen Houthis, just here in America, we're just check out this explosion. We look at this stuff on these videos, and we're like, yeah, whatever. As we're sitting here eating our nachos, it really stinks for them. I mean. Guys, we are so blessed to be here in America or in a free country where we're not dealing with this. But keep in mind, this is the calm before the storm. And we've got to stay plugged into Jesus, guys, because everything is getting ready to happen. It's getting ready to get nuts. But we'll finish this off with one more explosion, and then we'll upload this. But thanks, guys, for watching. Let me know how I can be a blessing to you. Jesus is coming very soon. We'll talk soon.